Hey everyone, today we have a Honda FG100, not the 110. It's the same motor though, it's a GX31 4-stroke Honda, and I don't want to say like the better ones, but some of them that you find have the wheels, some of them do not. I don't know if that's just because someone took them off, or maybe at one point they have an option to not have the wheels. I'm assuming someone just took them off, but if you can find a 110 with wheels, that's a pretty good machine. Right now we have a 100, the same more or less things, except this transmission, I believe, is known for having problems. I know I personally have replaced at least 2 gears in these. They are not cheap though, both situations. One was for a relative, so it was cheaper for them just to buy the part and then I'll install it for free. I'm not going to charge family, of course. And then the other one, I just owed some work to because someone had helped me, and I said I would just put it on there for free, just buy the part. Having said that, you know, if I was going to be doing a repair on that type of thing, I wouldn't have, it just wouldn't be cost effective. So these transmissions are kind of rough, which brings us to the point of this video. It's stuck. Now, let's go ahead and see what exactly stuck means. So on the bottom of the engine, there's a clutch, and then the clutch, just like a chainsaw clutch or pretty much all clutches, when it spins up, it will expand, and it will then touch the whatever it's driving, in this case the drum for the tiller tines, and you know, that's how it works. Well, the problem with this one is that something in there is causing a muck. Let me show you. Also might be leaking fuel. I was not aware of that one. Okay. So that's a pretty nasty noise, as you can probably tell. We're going to take a look and see what's in there. But something that I do want to do is something to help me out. The cable's already dislodged. That's why I was pretty much running at full throttle when I first turned it on. And I'm going to disconnect this ground wire. I'm going to unplug this. Basically what I want to do is take off everything that's attaching the handles to the engine and the base, because here shortly, to make it a little easier and not so awkward, I'll go on the other side. I want to take off these handles, and I believe I have to anyway. Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm going to work on that. Took the handles off, and just 2 of these long bolts on either side, and then take a hammer and just, you know, give them a few left taps, and they slide right out to this little slot that they ride on or fit into. Next, I got a drill bit and drilled out a couple I might as well blank rivets, there we go, into that holds this like shield into place. You don't have to take off both, you only have to take off one. That way you only have to put back one, because once you take off one, the other one will just keep it in place, and you'll be able to open it up, it's not held in there very tight. So after that, we are going to take off the 4 bolts. I don't know if you can see them. 4 bolts in there, and it should be 10 millimeter, and then that should allow us to take this off, and then we will be able to access what we need. Before I continue, you don't really have to drill the rivet. I guess I'm doing that because it's easier to view everything, and if we do need to work on anything, it's just really hard to work on with that cover on there, and it's easy enough to just put a rivet in there. So, you know, if you don't have a rivet gun and you don't want to deal with taking it off, then don't worry about it. But if you do, or if you just put a nut and a bolt through it, that's also fine. But once you take those 4 off, you should be free. Here we are. So something definitely appears to be stuck. Does the clutch? And the clutch seems to be fine. Could be a little less worn, but it doesn't appear to be out. So I'm assuming what we have going on in here is actually in the transmission. So more likely than not, this is just a bad transmission, like I said. But I'm going to take a few moments and clean this up so it's a little easier to work on. I may put a little oil down through here. Let's see what exactly we have here. After looking at it, it's definitely missing the pin, but these are usually rusted on pretty good, so it's probably not a problem that it came off. The other side, however, though, does not look anything like this. You can't even see the pinhole, so it's sliding off a little bit. That's not, however, the problem. I mean, technically right now, I should be able to move this, but I can't. Now, I see the drum going up and down when I do that, so that tells me that there's at least something happening in there. Pretty sure the gear is bad. I'm going to try to take off these tines, probably from the other side though, because I don't really need to get both. I just need to get off one side of this. That way I can. Well, you can see right here how there's no pin. It's rusted on there pretty good. This is not that easy to take off, I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes will see if I can find a bearing puller and pull it off that way, like the biggest one that I have. And the tines really make this hard though. I'm gonna try to take it off, but something was really bothering me when I was looking at that tine trying to take it off. Well, first of all, it's so rusted on there that it was just becoming very difficult. But the transmission itself seemed to have a lot of just wrappings and gunk where the actual shaft goes. That shaft is then connected to a gear, which then is connected to a worm gear. The worm gear is then connected to the drum that the clutch is going to touch when it gets to a certain RPM. I cleaned that off and I lubricated it a little bit. I also put a little fresh grease into the transmission to see if it can be a little easier. Excuse me, not grease, gear oil. There we go. There's a little plug in there, you just like pour it in. It's really hard, it's really messy. With the tines on, you can't really see it, so I didn't film it. But there's a little screw. You just get the smallest funnel you have, and then you just pour it in there. Potentially a grease gun would work too, but let's see. For whatever reason, I have to work on that one, but the throttle keeps disconnecting. I think the might be missing a piece, but we're not going to worry about that. Let's just pull it on idle, and I'll rev it up manually if I need to. Well, assuming that's going to run, of course. Choke. Oh boy. Did you see that? So we have a dirty carb, but that transmission is running. Let's try this again. Yeah, it's completely just not going to run without the choke on. But for demonstration purposes, I think we're pretty good. That carb is really dirty, but as you can tell, the transmission is running. So let's imagine this didn't exactly work out this way. What would be the next step? The next step would be to consider it garbage. There's nothing on the outside obstructing it. The only thing that would be obstructing it from there is the drum for the clutch. Could be something stuck in there. That was clean. We saw that, or at least I did, and it also moved a little bit, so that's not going to be a problem. The other thing it could be is the gears inside. Like I said, a tooth could be broken and jammed into like the worm gear and causing the other teeth in there to be, you know, stuck and not moving. So that's a possibility. If that does happen, yeah, maybe moving it back will fix it. Except once it gets that tooth again, it's not going to have anything to grab onto, and then you're going to be running into a situation where the other teeth in front and behind it might connect to it on the worm gear. But I'm not 100% sure. Even if it does, randomly throughout any point in time, that broken tooth that you dislodged, which is still in there, can find its way exactly where it was before, and then you have to keep on doing that. When I'm rototilling, I don't necessarily want to have to shake and manhandle the rototiller every 5 seconds. So luckily this is on the outside. Once it's cleaned, it's good to go. I'm gonna work on the carb, and then I might bring it back just again and give you a final review, but I'm not going to show the carb cleaning because I already have a video on that. So I'm gonna get this running.